extrasensory research programs. Join us as the conspiracy behind remote viewing is unsealed. What if the history you were taught in school was all a lie? Is our government controlled by a secret society? Welcome to the world of conspiracy, where cover-ups, secrets, and hidden agendas all trace back to a single source. We're about to unseal the secret files the government doesn't want you to know about. This is Unsealed. Conspiracy Files. 1971. Deep inside the heart of the Soviet Union. Secret operations are underway to give the Russians an unparalleled advantage during the Cold War. And the weapon they are developing is like nothing ever seen before.
The Soviet Union during the Cold War were conducting experimentation with psychic phenomena and paranormal phenomena. They wanted to use this against their enemies.
The Soviets focused on a paranormal ability known as remote viewing.
Remote viewing is where a subject sees something without actually being there, and could be from great distances.
When a remote viewer remote views, they get the information down on paper in verbally written words, sketches.
The remote viewer is made to sit in a room, and he puts himself into a certain state, and he begins to receive images. He doesn't know what the target is. He doesn't know what the subject matter is. He just draws what he sees.
The military applications for remote viewing are endless.
January 1972. The U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency publishes a report entitled Controlled Offensive Behavior, USSR. This document outlines the advances the Soviets are making in the field of paranormal reconnaissance. The findings? The United States is at risk.
The Soviets were spending literally hundreds of millions of dollars on these kinds of programs. So the CIA needed somebody to look at that for us.
We heard rumors that the Soviets were doing it to us. We understood that they were making advances with it. We just didn't know to what extent. So what we had to do was really find out what we could do with it.
The Russians claim to have a man who's mastered the power of telekinesis, the power to move inanimate objects using only his mind. In response to the report, the CIA initiates Project Scanate. The program marks the first time the U.S. government has funded any type of research dealing with the paranormal.
In the early stages of remote viewing research by the CIA and the intelligence community, they only put about $50,000 behind Project Scanate to see what the capabilities were for remote viewing.
The money went primarily to two men, Hal Puthoff and Russell Targ, at the Stanford Research Institute, better known as SRI.
I was working at SRI on lasers, and I had carried out some initial experiments on kind of a lark. I was actually interested in the possible physics behind it. And so I circulated the results from those early experiments around, and pretty soon we were approached by representatives of various government agencies who were interested.
Remote viewing started in roughly 1971 when a consciousness researcher and artist in New York named Ingo Swann was doing some experiments with the City College of New York, with the American Society of Psychical Research, and he suggested a new approach to their research, which ultimately he named remote viewing. The CIA found out about this in 1972, and that's when the program began.
Swann paired up with Hal Puthoff, and a new era in parapsychology was born.
So we started out doing what anyone else would do. We hid things in boxes, we hid pictures in envelopes. And after a few days, he got bored with that, and he said, why are you having me do this? You want to know what's in the box? Open it up. Want to know what's in the envelope? Tear it open. I mean, this is a trivialization of this ability. What I can do is I can close my eyes and see anywhere in the planet. Why don't we look at that?
Using just locations on a map, Swann claimed he could view any place on the planet.
Frankly, to mollify him, we said, okay, well, we'll do some experiments. How do you want us to do this? And he said, well, just pick coordinates, latitude and longitude off the map, and I'll tell you what's there. And so we got good descriptions of mountains and lakes and so on, and that continued to work, apparently, to a point that we decided maybe there's something to this.
Ingo Swann describes the process known as coordinate remote viewing.
If the viewer would be physically at the site of this coordinate, the viewer would begin to experience the sensory surroundings, and these just poured out like water out of a bucket. You can make long lists of them, and in many times you can understand what the site must be, sizes and shapes and heavinesses and qualities and things like that. And so we call this dimensional contact with the site, and they begin drawing pictures of it.
Early trials claim up to an 85% accuracy rate. But how does the process work? The Coordinate Remote Viewing Training Manual, written by Major Paul Smith, may offer a clue.
They access the information in the matrix via a thing that we just term it a signal line. It's just the conduit by which we connect to the matrix and gain information that then we report as remote viewing data.
The question becomes, what do remote viewers do with that information once it is retrieved? When we return, who or what would stop the CIA from using the same techniques to peer inside your home? Or even inside your mind? Unsealed Conspiracy Files.